Let's switch gears from the relationship of boundaries with others and the relationship with yourself when it comes to things like workaholism, addictions. Okay, so I know you had spoken a few times that you used to be a workaholic and she was pretty tough, your inner workaholic. Tell us how you recovered from that, because I am trying to get over that myself. So how do I make boundaries with myself when it comes to something that's supposedly a good thing and is admirable, but it's hurting me?
It is hurting you, like all good things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, First of all, in my book, Transform Your Boundaries, and if you're not a reader, I have an online class called Transform Your Boundaries, and it's like a huge course that you can spend as much time as you want working on what Amy's describing, which is the 7 patterns.
Okay.
And these patterns are what gets in the way of us setting boundaries. One of the patterns is workaholic, another is sacrificer, lover, numbing, isolating, protecting, and caretaking. So if you relate to any word I just said,
Yeah.
like bam, 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 this is the work that you can do on yourself to help heal and recover your boundaries. Because when I was workaholic, which I feel largely recovered from at this point, but it takes time. And I want to be honest with listeners. Nobody wants to hear this, but this is the truth. I've been on the road teaching this for a really long time. Um, when you commit to doing boundary work in your life and saying, I am going to do the work, I'm going to read the book, I'm going to take the classes, I'm going to practice, 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 even in those tough moments.
Mm.
And I am going to get better at self care until I am excellent at self care. And then I'm going to handle boundaries. That journey takes about 2 years to become
Whoa.
a boundaries expert in your life. The only way that I got there, the only way that I recovered from workaholism is that I had to pay attention. I had to check myself every day and say, are you overscheduling? Are you turning that thing off at 5? Are you walking away? Are you protecting your time off? I had some questions that I would ask myself. And I held myself accountable. And what I learned about the workaholic, and I love this, and I want to encourage people to do this. Like I made a collage of my workaholic, an image of her. And I realized that she had tools in her hand to set herself free. She had a big ball and chain on her leg,
Yeah.
but then she was all dressed like really nice. And then she had like these great giant clippers and cutters that she could cut that thing loose with. And I was like, oh, she has the tools. And what I learned is that I have the ability, my workaholic never says, you did a good job. That's wonderful. Why don't you take the afternoon off? You know, you were up all night doing that thing so that
Yeah.
you'd be ready. Why don't you get some rest now and take a nap? You don't need to go to the gym. You need to rest. You need to catch up on that sleep. My workaholic never says you're done.
Hmm.
She never says you're finished. My workaholic, in fact, is always ready with the next list.
Of
She's a
course.
list maker. Even when I meditate, she starts making lists. It's like, be quiet. I'm not taking your lists right now. But she loves making lists. And then she hands them to me. You need to do this. You need to do that. You need to do this. Get this on your calendar. Make sure you save that. She's
That's mhm.
right. She's always got something for me to do, but she doesn't have an off switch.
Mhm.
So what helps me with that part of me now is I go and I say, you've done enough. This is where the off button is. This is where the time stops. The list will be there tomorrow. It's okay. And I've gone in and brought the other voice that my workaholic doesn't have.
What voice?
The voice that says, you've done enough. Stop. Take a break. You need a rest. You need a vacation. It's time for you to stop doing all the projects. It's the weekend. Have the weekend. This voice comes in and tells me things that the workaholic can't tell me. I have been trying to please the workaholic, thinking if I just do more, if I just do it right, if I just get it better, because I try to get things better and better and better looking.
Yes.
If I just get it better, then she'll say to me, okay, now you're done. That's it.
Never happens.
No, workaholics don't have that voice in them. So now I have to bring that voice, and it's okay. My workaholic, she's productive. She does really good work. She helps a lot of people, but she doesn't have an off switch. So I have to give her that. I help the workaholic. I'm her assistant now.
You're almost like her parent.
Yeah, here's the off switch. That's enough.
Mm-hmm.
There's another phrase that I love using, Amy, and you can borrow this because you're a workaholic too, you said.
Mm-hmm.
So the words are good enough.
Oh,
That's good enough.
I like it.
Because the workaholic likes to always make things better.
True.
And so I pay attention to what I'm busy doing, and I look for the point that is called good enough.
Good enough.
And I say, that's good enough. Stop right there.
Without feeling guilty.
I don't feel guilty because that's practice. The guilt goes away with practice. That's the 2 year, is that your life completely changes in those 2 years. And what you are at the end of those 2 years, just by staying attentive and not letting go of this, staying on top of your boundaries and doing the work, recovering from being a workaholic or being a caretaker or being a lover who gives and gives and gives and never gets anything in return. When you recover from these patterns and you get your self-care better and you start practicing your boundaries then with other people, that's the order.
Yep.
When you do those things, you become a boundaries expert in your life. And that's what I want you to be, because you cannot get through this life without that. And if you're not managing your boundaries, guess what? Someone else is.
And what usually happens is not only do you get overstressed, you're the person who's always overwhelmed, always frustrated, always too busy, always frazzled. But often what happens is you get injured, or you get sick, you get an illness, or life has a creative way of taking you out and making you get what you need. Like you fall and trip and break your ankle. Now you have to rest, right? So I always tell people, life will win. Your body will win eventually. Sometimes it gives you a little tap on the shoulder. You're not listening. It knocks a little harder and smacks you across the head. You're still not listening. A brick's going to fall in your face till you eventually pay attention. So it's a matter of, how much pain do you want to be in? How bad do you want it to get till you finally acquiesce to you're not going to win against the laws of life and the needs and the desires of your soul, wanting to enjoy your life, to be your true self, to live a full life, which means one that isn't all about work, but is about a balance of rest and play and joy and you and me, and where I begin and you end and I end and you begin. And, I love how you said the thing about the fun, because the fun, to me, that triggers, well, I'm going to have an easier time saying good enough when I have something fun pulling me forward to stop work for. If I don't have any fun in my life, what am I, well, I might as well keep working, because God knows there's always more to do, right? But if I don't have a source of fun, that fun is a good reason to stop work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.